Daddy, tell me a story.
All right, Bobby. We'll get you a good old story. Bob McGee. I need one of y'all to be gone. He got to come on when I was gone. I want to be on when he's on.
Well, I'm not going to be on in a couple of weeks, so you can bring him on.
Well, you will line that up. You know what would be fun is if your granddaughter sat in for you when you were gone.
I would never.
I know you would never. That's why it'd be fun for us. Uncle Charlie and Uncle Joey's got some teachings to do.
It's not Uncle Joey I'm worried about.
it's that Charlie.
But Kurt, wait till Daddy tells you a story, because you might be worried about Uncle Joey over here because he fell asleep while operating heavy equipment. And I know it's not a dirty joke.
Accurate.
Touché.
Yeah, so I was working as an early morning custodian during college. So that was working, my shift started at 4 a.m. And for the most of the time while I was working there, because I worked there for three and a half years, something like that, I was working on the floor crew, and so, clean the floor, run the machine that you rode on to scrub the floors, scrub the tile, and I had tweaked my back, and I went to the doctor, and he prescribed me muscle relaxers. I didn't read the fine print that said do not operate heavy machinery, so I showed up to work like normal, and I'm riding on the machinery. and I fell asleep and ran into the wall. Luckily, it didn't do any noticeable damage.
Oh no!
Is that because you didn't have your glasses on?
I didn't have glasses at that time. And yeah, so I went to my supervisor. I'm like, look, I'm falling asleep. I can't be here. And so I turned it over to someone else and left. But that's not the only time I've fallen asleep operating heavy machinery.
Joe.
Well, you left out the good news that the school got a new wing.
Well, and actually one of the other people that worked there, when he was doing that same machine, ran into a pillar and put a huge dent, like a huge hole in the wall. So there was that. He was no longer allowed to drive the floor
But
cleaner.
apparently
he was just tired. You were only on drugs.
Yeah.
They were tired. And we did have someone with narcolepsy that I don't know why they let her work early morning custodian. That seemed like a bad call, but they did. And so basically, whenever she didn't show up for work, it was just, okay, she's got narcolepsy, she's not here. But she wasn't allowed to use a step stool, let alone a ladder, or operate any of the machinery, or there was a lot of stuff that she was not allowed to do because of her narcoleptic episodes, which makes sense. I was just a bit surprised that they would have her on the 4 a.m. shift. Yeah, then there was another time where I fell asleep while... What?
Statute of limitations, man. Tell us how horrible you
please
are.
Tell us, because there's probably
lifing.
like 3 or 4 other things that you're not telling us.
I don't... As far as falling asleep while operating heavy machinery, I think this is the only 2. But I have fallen asleep
How many of those stories do you have, Kurt? Yeah, me either.
He's just shaking his head.
Me either.
I have fallen asleep while driving before. So that wasn't good. I was working the graveyard shift at a Burger King, and luckily no one else was on the road, and there were wide shoulders that had gravel, and so I woke up to the gravel vibrating my truck. But yeah.
How long do you think you were out when that was happening?
A couple minutes, maybe.
That's a long time.
It was middle of nowhere, Idaho, a very straight road with wide shoulder. Like it was as far as conditions for falling asleep, it was the best conditions. Not that it's
No, I
bad
got you.
to do.
I got you. Yeah. I mean, because I think we've all had the falling asleep while we're driving thing, and you take steps to make sure you don't actually fall asleep. But it's that whole, oh man, I can't even keep my eyes open type thing, and long blinks, but not like, oh, hey, I'm going.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. My wife says it's such a scary story to hear afterwards. This was before we were married at all. This was, I don't know,
this
about
is the
3 or
real
4 years.
reason Joe has to work from home. So,
Because I can't.
yeah.
I'm a driving risk.
I
don't drive at night hardly ever anymore. Period.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It stinks.
The
Terrible.
world thanks you. But my closest one is more of a non-memory. So I'd worked 48-hour shift on the truck as a paramedic. Got off shift. My wife now, who's my girlfriend then, lived where I worked, which is an hour away from where I lived. And I went and saw her for a while and was tired, but dating and energetic, whatever. So when she got to get ready for work, I got on the road. All I can clearly remember from that day, specifically, I told the story immediately to her later. I remember walking out her front door, a little blip of a section of road, like a blip, and walking in my door going, how did I get here? And I had no recollection of the 1 hour drive. Now, obviously, I didn't fall asleep, but my brain locked into none of it. And went, oh, crap. And I jumped in bed and went to sleep immediately.
I know what you're talking about.
Autopilot.
It's almost like a hallucination thing, almost, right? I've been there. That is almost scarier.
Yeah, just completely zone out, like you've lost time.
Right.
Yeah.
Clearly, you were abducted.
Yep.
Well, that would make me feel a little bit better than what I believe that I might have been a bit of a threat to society in that moment.
Most people don't think feeling better, with being abducted.
Yeah, you're usually storer.
Yeah. There'd be a reason.
And that's all I got to say about that.
And that's the butt of that joke.
Wow.
I just want to make note that he said that. He said that.